welcome back to another episode. So if you followed this series before on this channel, you'll know what this is. We're going to run through the wiring harness, all of the connection points. We're going to have the essential ignition components, and then we're also going to have the accessories that can be on a bike. This is an RMX 250, 1992, and these bikes are notorious for having heaps of different models, European, Japanese, American, so it's very hard to isolate a diagram, but I think I found out, based off this model anyway, where all the components are, and hopefully this can be of use to somebody. But keep in mind, every model is going to be different. Even that wiring harness had different colors to what I have, so take this with a grain of salt. And then at the end of the video, I'll show you where all the connection points are, where each component goes, how the wiring harness flows through the bike. So this should be just an overview of the electrical system. So just to start off very quickly before we hit the wiring harness, because that'll take a while, these are the essential elements that you need for the ignition. You need the regulator, which converts AC to DC, can also charge up batteries. In this model that I have, it doesn't actually come with a battery, and there's no battery holder anywhere on the bike. So I'm assuming that this is just converting the spark from the magneto into the ignition coil. You've got the CDI unit, which is pretty much the brains of the bike. It knows when to send a spark and where to transfer all the electricity. It's kind of like a motherboard for a computer. Ignition coil, this is where the spark comes out of and attaches to the spark plug. And lastly, the engine stop. So the actual ignition with the key doesn't seem to be a part of the ignition electrical components, but this has been. I'm sure you can short circuit it somehow that it doesn't need it, but it's always good to have a way to turn the bike off. With the main things out of the way, we've got the rear brake switch, we've got a condenser, we've got dashboard lights, speedometer, the ignition coil, turn signal relays. Now this bike doesn't seem to have, based off this, doesn't seem to have a resistor, a headlight relay, and my bike in particular didn't come with the left-hand switches. So the turn signals, high beam, low beam, but it came with everything else, and this is what we'll run through now. Okay, so we're going to start at the back, just because it'll be easier to run forward that way, because at the top is very messy. So at the very end, you got the side stand switch. Now in this case, mine is green and black and white, which does match the diagram, which is great, but you'll see that not a lot of this actually matches. Regulator / battery, that's where my 3 yellow are. And then the second connection, mine's red and white and black, but they have black, red and black, white. So I have to take that with a grain of salt. Over on this side, I have my rear brake lights and then my left and right indicators. So the brake lights have a 3 connection and the indicators have a 2. Now this one's been severed, so it's just 2 strands, but they should look similar to this. And the colors for that, the left one is a black with a black and white stripe, and the right one is a light green and a black and white stripe. Now your brake light will be orange yellow, a black white, and a white black. And again, my colors didn't fully match that, but I do know that that's the connection area. So really everything back here is your regulator, and that will connect up just like that. The yellows go together, and then in my case it's orange and black connecting to a red and black. And you can see that matches the diagram because it's got a 3 connection and then it's got a separate 2 connection. So the 3 and the 2 matches up pretty well. Now I don't have the backlights or the indicators, so I can't put this together on the video, nor can I do the same for the side stand switch. Moving up. So moving further up, you've got the second of the 3 yellow wires. Now you don't want to get it confused with the regulator one. So the regulator one sits at the back of the bike. So the one at the front of the bike actually connects to the magneto, along with a black and yellow striped cable. That's also a magneto connection. From there, you've also got some CDI connections. So there's actually three, so we'll plug these in. So the CDI connection is a 3-prong, but it only has 2 wires going into it. So we're going to connect that up. And you're also going to plug in the black and yellow to the black and yellow. Now from here, the CDI has a couple of connections. So this brown and white connects to the magneto. That'll be the final connection. So the magneto has 3 points. There's one here, 3 yellows, 1 black and yellow connection, single, and then you've got this one that has 2. It's a brown and white. From there, these last 2, you've got a white. Well, I have a white and blue. That doesn't actually match. The diagram says it's a black and white, but my white and blue will connect there. And then the ground will sit between the frame and the ignition coil. So that's all for this section here. Now there is a black and green one, but I cannot find on the diagram. Again, I've got different colors sometimes. I don't know what this is. It might have something to do with a kickstand. Might have something to do with a resistor of some sort, because I don't seem to have a resistor or a headlight relay in this harness. So it's black with a green stripe. I'm not sure where this goes, but the rest of it, this is enough to get your ignition coil working. So moving up from the CDI magneto cluster, the next thing we have is the turn signal relay, and that looks like this. So there's 6 wires. Now it's a very colorful one. You've got purple, you've got blue, you've got green, you've got black, you've got orange. And on this diagram specifically, there's orange and a yellow, a pink, a light blue, a light green, a black with a white stripe, and a dark green. So I'd say 5 out of 6 of those colors match for me, but this is pretty simple. Just put it together. This one's a grounding wire. This will just go against the frame. Helps ground the harness. Moving down, there are 2 wires here. So this really long one, okay, so this blue wire, mine's quite dirty so it looks black, but it's a blue. This is your neutral switch. This will sit on the side of the engine underneath the drive cog. This one here, mine's a white with a black stripe and an orange. This is the rear brake switch. And this one here, yeah, is orange with a white and black. This just connects up. Here's the switch. 2 pins, throw it together, and voila. So that's that little cluster there. You got the neutral switch, which sits on the side of the engine between the magneto and the drive cog, and then you got the rear brake switch. So this is where it got really messy, just because I don't have a lot of the parts here. Like I don't have a resistor, and I don't have a headlight relay. It's just not on this circuit anyway. But also I don't have the side switches. So where the horn would be, the high beam, low beam, and turn signals. But we'll do the best we can with what we have. So on here, this little deviation, you've got the condenser, which is this thing. It pretty much just helps regulate spark, make sure that there's no backflows of energy. Just helps the electrical system stay consistent. I'm not exactly sure in detail how that works, but that's kind of what I gathered from online. Put the front indicators left. Mine is a brown and a black with a white, and that matches the diagram perfectly. The horn is green and an orange, but on the diagram it says green, orange, and yellow, but that's quite easy to spot here. So yeah, condenser, front left indicator, and horn is the first deviation. Is your dimmer switch. Again, I don't have a dimmer switch, so I can't show you how that connects in, but you can see it's a yellow, it's a white, and a black and white. So yellow, white, black and white. And the way you can recognize that is yellow usually links up with the headlight. So the headlight, the main power one, is a yellow. So that would make sense. If this is a dimmer, this will turn it from low beam to high beam. So that's what these three colors will be. I don't know what the connection will look like because this doesn't come with the connection for me, but black and white, yellow, white, that's your dimmer switch. Now we'll move up here. Key ignition. This was pretty straightforward for me to see. Connects in just like that. And the key ignition for me is very different to the diagram. This one has two wires running into it, a black and a red and an orange. I have a red, an orange, and a black and a white. And then on top of that, I also have a separate black and white here, which connects in there like that. So that is the ignition element. Now here, this is the dash lights. So you've got a blue one, blue goes into blue, and there is 6 different wires in this connection. So my colors are slightly different to what they have on here, but they have a yellow, black with a white, orange with a yellow, black with a brown, brown with a white, black with a white. And then they connect into here like that. And these colors do match. So the high beam one is a black with a red stripe with a black and a white stripe. Your neutral one is a black with an orange stripe and a black with a brown stripe. And TU, which means oil or turn, the black with a light green stripe and a black. So that's how you can color code it. This one here, on that same, so you've got the ignition, the dashboard lights, and the last one you have the front right indicator. So mine is a dark green with a black and a white. This one is a dark green with a black and a white. So they're your indicator sockets. I'm guessing that's what the back ones would look like as well. Okay, the last strands. So the green is the horn switch. So this would attach to on the handlebars where our left cluster of switches would be. This one here is the kill switch. So you've got 4 connections which go in like that. And then you've got a black and a yellow. So this is a part of the ignition circuit and you need that one. And also at the very end of it, you have the front brake wires. So mine are 2 black and that matches the diagram as well. So what that is there, engine stop switch is there. And you can see that the black wires connect to that engine stop switch. So that's why they're both together here. Moving up, you've got the headlight connection here. So you've got a black with a white and a yellow. And like I said earlier, yellow indicates headlight. So that'll go together in like this. I'm not going to press it in because it will cover everything in the video. From here, you've got the side switch. So this is where you'd have your turn signals, your high beam, low beam. I just don't have this one on my bike, so I can't show you how that connects in, but that's that one there. And that one's a 6-prong one. And that switch has brown, purple, dark green, blue, light green. That actually matches my colors as well. Now these two here, this is for your speedometer dashboard. So you've got a black with a dark green connection here. And then you've got a black with a white stripe, a gray and an orange. And that sits together like this. Well, the bottom one's for the engine temperature. And this one is to light the insides so you can see it. So that's the whole engine setup from back to top. I'm hoping that helped, and I'm hoping maybe you can pause the screen there if you need to, if that's clear enough. Again, my wiring colors didn't match 100%, but I'm guessing that's because the RMXs have European models, Japanese models, US models, and I don't know where that one came from. So next thing, I'll show you where to place this on the bike. And this is a part of a grader restoration. So if you'd like to see this, feel free to like, subscribe, and this video should be coming out in about 4 to 6 weeks. So we'll get started on part 2 of the video. So part 2 of the video, we're going to follow these instructions on how to wire the harness. So I'm only doing this here, is if anyone needs to pause the screen and see this, you have the resource here. But these are the instructions we'll be following to put this on that. Okay, so this is where we're at. We've got the condenser at the front. It's connected into the top of the triple clamp. You've got the ignition, the speedometer, and the dash gauges. They're connected into that bracket here that holds into the triple clamp. So these are your components. You've got the CDI strapped underneath the main frame with a little piece of rubber between the CDI and the frame. You've got the coil. You've got the turn switch relay, which goes underneath one of the main frame. On the other side of the main frame, there's like a little bracket that kind of looks like an L. It's got 2 holes. It kind of just sticks out and holds it there. Down here you got that ignition, the neutral switch. Back up here you got the regulator, and all the connections back here. I don't have a back light and blinkers, but I'm assuming the blinkers would probably sit in those holes and the back light would sit on the back fairing. So they're all the main components. As for the wiring, you kind of want to run it through like this. So it comes out the engine. So this is, we'll start with the engine. You have the 2 cords that come up here. Runs up the left side of the bike, up the front of the frame. So these are the magneto wires. These come up here. I've put one zip tie here because that's what it looked like on the diagram. Comes up here, wraps here, kind of where that fuel tank's going to sit on the inside of it, and then it connects up here with the rest of it. So these cords will run here over the fuel tank holder and connect up with the bunch over here. Now the actual wiring harness runs along the left side of the frame, and as you can see here, you've got some zip ties that's holding it together, and it runs along the left there. And this is not the same model as I have, but I'm going to use the same methodology when it comes to the cables when I put everything together. But essentially it's going to sit at the front here, and this little holder here, I'm going to put the wiring harness in there, push down on it, it's going to hold it up like that. So when we put the headlight at the front, this is all kind of in the background, and you know, the connections that we spoke about earlier just connect up as needed. You're going to run it through the gap in the left front fork. Mine has this little clip here that clips into the engine, into the frame. There's a hole in the frame there, and then it's going to be supported here, here, and here with a zip tie. I've only got one for now because the accelerator cables, the clutch cables, and everything else is going to run parallel to this wiring harness. So I'm also going to put the final zip ties on when I have the rest of the cables in. I've done a zip tie here just to hold that junction together, and then just 1 or 2 zip ties back here to hold it along the left side of the frame. And at the core, that's the wiring harness on the bike. So the main points are the locations of the components. You've got magneto, neutral switch, coil, CDI, turn relay, regulator, condenser, ignition, and you know, obviously The kill switch I have is on the right hand side. So it'd sit on the handlebars like that. And your front brake, then you have all the side switches over here. But that's all you need to wire up a 1992 RMX. And I believe mine's a European model, so the California, US models and the Japanese models are going to differ. So, but I'm hoping this will help anyone where they're confused. So let me know what you think in the comments, and yeah, subscribe and follow the channel because this RMX is coming along really nicely. I'm very excited to see this finish. So we'll see you in the next episode.